Welcome to another episode of Follow the Brand TV. I am your host, Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, a 5-star personal brand and business development company. I want to take you on a journey through another deep dive into the world of personal branding and business development using compelling personal stories, business conversations, and tips to improve your brand. By listening to the Follow the Brand TV series, you will differentiate yourself from the competition and build trust with prospective clients and employers. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Make it one that will set you apart, build confidence, and reflect who you are. Building your 5-star personal brand is a great way to improve your skills and knowledge. If you have any questions for me or any of my guests, please email me at grant.mcgaugh@5starbdm.com. Now, let's begin with our next episode on the Follow the Brand TV.
Five-Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starbdm.com today to learn more.
What if well-being wasn't just an HR benefit, but your most powerful business strategy? Imagine transforming your workplace into a hub of productivity and satisfaction. The Follow the Brand podcast explores how mindful moments can lead to measurable momentum, reshaping the future of corporate culture. 76% of employees report burnout, a staggering statistic that highlights a critical issue in today's workplaces. But one leader is rewriting the playbook, offering a fresh perspective on how to tackle this pervasive problem. Discover the strategies that can turn this challenge into an opportunity for growth. Meet Anita Barbero, a renowned well-being strategist. Events don't change culture. Integration does. Her approach focuses on embedding wellness into the fabric of corporate life, ensuring that every employee feels valued and supported. Learn how her insights can revolutionize your organization's approach to well-being. Trusted by Fortune 500 companies like ESPN, Disney, and Chewy, Anita's methods have proven effective across industries. With 42 on-demand well-being tools, her strategies are designed to fit seamlessly into any corporate environment. Discover why top companies rely on her expertise to enhance their workplace culture. Experience a fourfold return on investment with mental health initiatives. When leaders show up mindfully, teams transform. Witness the profound impact of mindful leadership on employee engagement and productivity. See how these changes can lead to a thriving, dynamic workplace. Tune into the Follow the Brand podcast, where mindful moments lead to measurable momentum. Explore the transformative power of well-being strategies and how they can redefine success in your organization. Listen now at www.5starbdm.com and take the first step towards a more mindful workplace.
Go.
Welcome, everybody, to the Follow Brand podcast. This is your host, Grant McGaugh, and I am going to bring someone to the stage I have so much respect for. She's been through my program, and she has taught me so many things. You always think you're there to give information and to guide someone, and then you find out you get guided. You get the information. This was my experience with Anita Barbero, who's going to introduce to us what she's all about. And she's bringing a unique service to corporate America that we need so much of today in the realm of mental health and the things we can do to actually help ourselves get healthier completely and holistically. So I'd like to get her introduced. And we're going to have a candid conversation about what she does and why she does it. So Anita, you'd like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Anita. Thank you, Grant, so much for having me on your podcast. You have helped me so much. I am a well-being strategist, consultant, and I am just immersed in well-being. I have been most of my life into health and wellness, and I just have a passion for passing the gift of health and wellness to as many people as I can. And I really got involved in the corporate in the corporate world and fell in love with the corporate world because the people were so wonderful, and I just felt that I could share the gift and my energy there, and it's been just a great experience.
I tell you what, you said something, well-being strategist. I like the way that sounds. So we want to unpack just a little bit of that. Now, you've worked with some iconic brands. We're talking Disney, ESPN, Chewy. I want to understand, and I know there's some misconception with companies and people, and they understand, about how that integrates with the workforce. So when you think about this, like, what is the biggest challenge or misconception that you think people have about integrating well-being into high performance work culture?
Yeah, so that's a good question, Grant. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that well-being doesn't need to be a core priority. It's often seems like it's something extra or assumed to maybe be covered by an existing benefits package. But if a company wants to build a truly high performance culture, well-being just can't be an afterthought. It needs to be embedded into the very fabric of that organization. Um, and with that, it could even be woven into the mission, the leadership strategy, and the day-to-day employee experience. You know, what I learned is that companies often talk about bringing more value to their customers, but what about bringing more value to the people behind that success? Because when you prioritize the well-being of your people with programs that go beyond the norm, programs that are thoughtful, relevant, and even restorative, you're showing that care is a company value. And that kind of culture only drives performance, not only drives performance, but it also improves retention. And Grant, especially with these younger generations who are really seeking more meaning and purpose in their lives and more purposeful ways they work and in environments there where they feel more supported. So that's where I really believe that there's our misconceptions.
Those are, you really framed that answer very, very well and put it into context because the biggest expense on any corporate balance sheet is human capital, it's your people. So how are you investing in that particular asset and keeping it a well-oiled machine, so to speak?
Exactly.
So when you talk about now your particular approach as a well-being strategist, your approach isn't just about the wellness, it's about business results, which is a different take that I think a lot of people don't look at it like that. But you see the whole holistic view from the corporate lens. It's about business results. So the question is, how do you help executive teams see well-being as a strategic imperative and not a nice to have?
Yeah, nice to have. So that's an important question, really, because well-being really is a business strategy. It is not just a perk. And executive teams need to see results. And I definitely and completely understand that. But what I experienced firsthand during my time leading wellness for a decade at ESPN And even though, Grant, we didn't track like formal metrics at the time, we did see consistent growth in participation, increased engagement, and a noticeable cultural shift over time because leaders were showing up to mindfulness sessions and implementing mindful minutes even before or after their meetings. And employees were building well-being into their daily routines because, and this is big, they had the permission most times to do that, permission from the leaders. And when people, as we know, are more present, less stress, and feel more supported, they perform better. It's a ripple effect that really did reach across departments, and that was really evident. Companies that do invest in mental health and stress reduction, the data and the research is there. They see up to 4 times of a return on their investment in reduced absenteeism, increased productivity, and even lower health care costs. This is all recorded. And we also know that high stress is a leading cause of burnout and turnover. And this directly impacts retention and ultimately the bottom line. So honestly, when I work with companies, I just don't start with a generic solution. I start by understanding their culture, their pain points, and what's already in place. And then I tailor well-being strategies that actually fit into their reality and their workforce. It's where the shift truly happens. So from nice to have to necessary for long-term performance, because when employees who give so much at work, and that's what I always saw, when they give so much, but they feel seen, supported, and they feel well, they do show up differently. And how they show up impacts everything that businesses pay attention to, from innovation to client satisfaction and to even the bottom line. And now it's reputation, because as we know, business competition is fierce, especially with this increase in social media.
Man, you framed that wonderfully, letting us know, your differentiator, what really resonates with the businesses that you work with. You've done your research and you understand what's, not only just ticks the box, but actually makes a difference. I want to know now how you got into this field. I want to understand, if you don't mind, just tell us about, a moment or the moment that you realized that workplace well-being could become your life's calling and not just your career. Can you give us some context around that?
Yeah, I love that question too. So that realization came during my time leading wellness at ESPN. We had launched programs I had launched with a very small team, programs across the country, or across the company, not across the country yet, but across the company, which was global, right? ESPN is a big company. And from mindful minutes to movement breaks. And then over time, I did notice something deeper than just the participation grant. People began telling me how these moments of pause were helping not just them get through their workday, but actually feel better about themselves, the work that they did. And it even spilled over into their home lives, which was so dear to me. Colleagues saying after a guided session that this has helped me more than you know. And honestly, from those guided sessions, those meditation sessions and movement sessions with a few dedicated individuals is where a mental health affinity group And for our listeners that don't know what an affinity group is, it's a specialty employee resource group. And this particular affinity group was a mental health one called Trust. And it was birthed from those meditation sessions with a few individuals that kept attending, and they felt the need. And I'll have to say, it's still going strong today. And that's when it became clear. This just wasn't a job or a program, but it was a calling. And for me, a corporate calling. I've always believed that we're all given gifts that are meant to share. And honestly, my faith has also and always guided me toward helping others reconnect with their strength, their resilience, and especially in environments that demand so much. So for me, workplace well-being wasn't just about reducing stress, and it still isn't today. It's about honoring the whole person. And really, that's when everything changes. And I saw that firsthand.
In 1984, Michael Jordan redefined basketball shoes. Today, Grant McGaw is revolutionizing personal branding. Imagine a world where everyone fights to be seen. Grant McGaw ensures you're remembered. Personal branding isn't about being seen, it's about being remembered. Through his company, 5-Star BDM, professionals aren't just building brands, they're creating legacies. Grant's approach transforms how you're valued, not just how you're seen. Consider a healthcare executive who went from unknown to keynote speaker in just 6 months. Or a financial firm that doubled client acquisition through strategic positioning. A tech company saw a 75% boost in brand recognition within a year. These are the results of Grant's innovative strategies. Introducing the Brave Brand Blueprint: brand identity, relationships, assets, visibility, execution. This blueprint is the cornerstone of transforming professionals' images. It's not just about change, it's about creating a lasting impact and defining your future. Grant's work is recognized by industry leaders and trusted by professionals worldwide. His results speak for themselves, with accolades from prestigious ceremonies like HIMSS. This isn't just about building a brand, it's about leading your industry and becoming unforgettable. Clients rave about their transformations. Specific testimonials highlight the profound impact of Grant's strategies, showcasing real-world success and satisfaction. These stories are a testament to the power of personal branding. The personal branding revolution isn't coming, it's here. With 5-Star BDM, transform your brand and your future. Visit www.5starbdm.com for more information. Transform your brand. Transform your future.
I tell you, you helped us all see that and hear that in your voice, in the enthusiasm, your energy, just experiencing that moment, right? And I love. It seems to me like you caught a rhythm. There was a harmonic moment that happened. You're like, hey, this is a gift that I can give to others, and which they find valuable, and that they were willing to, and the need for to invest in. Because if we don't invest in ourselves, in our own individualism, our health, in a lot of other ways, this is so important. And it's such a stigma, I think, sometimes. People think about, yeah, if you catch a cold and everything like that, yeah, you go get medication, you get sick. But we get mentally fatigued, we get emotionally fatigued. There's a lot of things that take us out of rhythm with ourselves that mean we may not know how to heal. And I think you bring that to the table of how to heal and how to actually heal and feel better. Now, in your work, you emphasize embedding well-being into the corporate rhythm. I want to understand that a little deeper. Like, what does that look like in practical terms? If you are chief human resource officer of a major corporation like a Disney or a Chewy or ESPN, what does that really look like in practical terms?
Yeah, that is such a good question. And I love the idea of rhythm, because even in corporate America, there is a rhythm, and it could be a good rhythm, right? It could be a really good rhythm by embedding well-being into the corporate environment, and treating it. The rhythm would come from not treating it as something extra.
Mhm.
It means that it would become a part of how the organization functions day to day. And in practical terms, I particularly start by understanding the company's current culture, and identifying the real pain points from there. And then design a simple doable strategies that can fit into the existing workflows, not disrupt them. That's the key. Disruption doesn't create rhythm. And at ESPN, we knew we had to engage executives and middle management if we wanted lasting impact.
Mhm.
So we started small, setting up brief but consistent wellness moments just for the leaders. Like, for instance, 5-minute guided meditations once a week. We scheduled them at a time that worked for them. And that's the thing. It was all about them. It wasn't about us, our schedules, our time. It's about them. It was all about them. And what we found was even the busiest leaders appreciated those pauses. Once they experienced the shift in focus and calm, then we were able to go deeper with them. And eventually, we were invited into their staff meetings to offer mindful minutes before they began, which really is just a few moments to center and to bring everyone into full presence. This is, and still today, and was so powerful then. Um, we also brought in external voices,
Yeah.
which means like mindful leadership experts and community leaders, and even executives from other companies to speak and reinforce why this message works and why it matters. Because, as we know, Grant, that knowledge is power, honestly, and especially for decision makers. We always presented the business case for why this matters. And when we did bring in these external voices, that really just was more validation. So it wasn't just the wellness team or coming in and saying, you've got to do this or whatever. We brought in experts. That was huge. And connecting well-being directly to focus, resilience, and performance did make the business case. And that's what made it stick. It wasn't about adding more. It was really about being intentional of what we offered into that corporate rhythm.
I tell you, you really know your service. You know what works, how you can help executives in the moment that they're actually conducting businesses. And you know what? Let's go in here and steal 5 minutes. But you're actually adding value for those 5 minutes that are just wonderful. And it's the performance, right? The energy boost you need because these are high performing executives. They are a huge capital investment, right? And you want your Maserati, so to speak, to be running on all cylinders at all times to get the maximum amount of output that you're looking for. I think that is wonderful about that. So that's rhythm. I hear what you're saying. So you're fine tuning everybody, and you found the way of doing that that doesn't disrupt the company culture. You actually enhance it, and I think that is wonderful. I want to, because you said something about disruption
Mm.
and about how that disruption can happen, and then you got to get things back on track and get more harmony into it, more rhythm into it. Now, you led well-being initiatives during one of the most stressful times in corporate history. That is the pandemic, COVID-19. I want to know because you lived through that, right? We all did, but you were actually doing your particular service in a corporate setting. What lessons did you learn about resilience, leadership, and adaptability during that time?
Yeah. So I'll tell you, that is such a great question and really dear to my heart because the pandemic was one of the most defining periods of my career. What really struck me was how well-being, something that was often considered optional, suddenly became a priority.
Mhm.
Because let's face it, every human being was affected during that pandemic. It was global, and I even, it was worldwide. And not only did that affect our work environment, but it affected our families. It just couldn't be ignored. It affected every part of our lives. And what was really compelling was leaders who had never really engaged with well-being initiatives before were reaching out to us, the wellness team, not just at ESPN, but even Disney, who is our parent company. And they were asking, how do we support our people right now? Like they were almost desperate. And we can understand that. And what we saw, Grant, was record numbers showing up to virtual well-being sessions during that time. And people shared openly and listened deeply. We partnered closely during that time with our EAPs, so we were all on these virtual calls together. And what moved me most was seeing executives show up from their living rooms, not polished, but real and vulnerable.
Mhm.
Wow, that visibility, that shared humanity definitely changed things. One of the biggest lessons I think we all learned was that resilience isn't just about pushing through. It's about pausing, connecting, and then allowing space for what's real. And that's what the pandemic did, allowing space. And then leadership, the most powerful form we saw was human presence and adaptability. I
Mhm.
remember, I remember thinking as as I was going through this, was really, did it take a global crisis for us to lead with our humanity first?
Yeah.
And that experience shaped everything for me as I choose to step now into this bigger corporate world of well-being, because I saw what was possible when people feel supported,
Mhm.
seen, cared for. That's big, cared for, and then heard. There's no going back. It's just about integrating better. And that's what the pandemic did for me.
Oh man, that's I'm glad you shared that story. Everybody can probably remember what were you doing back then? What was it like? And we were all, living in this really a virtual world, couldn't go outside. And then how do you find support? And you showed that. You showed leadership in well-being. So I see why you call yourself the well-being strategist, because you use that strategy and promoted well-being in a world where we already know we were stressed out. We had a lot of anxiety. We didn't know what was going to happen next. And it was a trying time. Now we're still in trying times, right? We are in trying times even right now about where the world is going, but where our business is going. And there's so many different levers that are taking place. Now, I have found that as far as what I call the status quo, that many leaders think offering yoga or meditation once a quarter, that checks that wellness box, right? I got that checked out, and that's it. They're not really digging in and seeing how this really guides a company. So the question is, how do you, from your lens as a well-being strategist, how do you guide companies from one-off initiatives to a full cultural shift?
Yeah, so that's so true, Grant, that many leaders, do start off with maybe a one-off yoga class or quarterly meditations, and they're offering that. And, they check the box, right? But that really isn't well-being. That's an event,
Mhm.
and events don't change culture. So what I do is help companies move from occasional activities to ongoing integration. And that begins by listening and really understanding what's happening in their culture. What are employees struggling with? And where is leadership aligned or disconnected? That's important. And from that point, we co-create something sustainable and realistic, not overwhelming, but more meaningful and consistent for that corporation. At ESPN, we did see the shift when we started embedding short, well-being moments into meetings that engaged leadership consistently, and we offered flexible resources like guided videos. There was a program called Everybody Moves, and it was these videos that employees could access at any time. It was movement videos because we knew that, expecting employees to take their half-hour breaks or exercise for the amount of time, but they needed to move, and they had access to this. So we found that when well-being is woven into the rhythm, like we said before, of their workday, not just scheduled once a quarter, that it becomes a lived experience, not a side program. And culture changes, again, when leaders set the example. So when employees believe that it's acceptable to pause, like when they offer these mindful minutes in before or after meetings, and you don't have to be a specialist or a meditation person to offer a mindful minute. Anybody can do it. It's a moment of pause. And when employees know, and then when they feel that support and it's consistently available, that's the thread that maintains organizational integrity, and not just when it's convenient.
Man, who's your favorite podcaster? Man, Grant, man. I love Grant's podcast. Well, who's Grant? I'm going to send you the link. I love
the interview. I've done a lot of these, and this is a great one. It's always great to talk to people who know what they're doing, and it's clear you're a great host, and you've done this many times before.
I feel great that we're having this conversation here. Met a new person in business who I previously didn't know.
It was an amazing podcast. Grant is an amazing interviewer. I learned a lot.
I really enjoyed this. Great questions, great talk track. Super appreciate you having me on. It's been a very fun episode to talk about a lot of things that I don't always get to dive into. So this has been a fantastic conversation.
I wouldn't be where I am here today, of course, not on this stage. However, not in my current business projection and my current business model without working with you.
Follow the Brand TV broadcast host, Grant McGaugh, as he visits with top executives and entrepreneurs to find out their secrets of success with their personal brand. Follow the Brand TV broadcast host as he focuses on brand development to build better relationships, bring value to your business, relationships, and career. You will enjoy listening to each episode that is tailored to speak to you directly. If you're looking for this type of clarity in terms of building your brand, you have tuned into the right station. Each episode will help you to shape a conversation in the 5-star BDM network of 20,000 professionals and become a springboard for your corporate engagement and business opportunities. Each guest will frame their story in the areas of personal branding, business development, career development, financial empowerment, and technology innovation. Grant McGaugh explains why he is the CEO and owner of his own professional career. Grant is an accomplished business leader and entrepreneur who wants to give back to individuals to grow their personal brand strategy. Tune in as he weaves his story about new possibilities, while to you exceed expectations. If you love storytelling, this show will make for fun.
Man, well stated. Well stated. I believe in what you're saying. And I can feel that it can't just be a one-off. You can't just, ride the bike once and now you've got, the cardio that you need, for the whole week, the whole month, the whole year. You've got to constantly be priming that pump, and it becomes a habit, a very positive habit in what you're doing. I love what you just said about that. Now you've got some programs, that you've created, like Well-Being Your Way, I think is one of them, and you did one at ESPN. I think it's called the Trust Group, right? I want you to understand or help us understand. Can you share how personalization plays into sustainable engagement? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure, sure. Because honestly, personalization is the key to making well-being stick. Employees, people want to know that you care, and to show it in some kind of a personal way is really is what makes it stick. It's not a one size fits all approach. That never works, especially in high stress environments, like corporate teams and even healthcare, Grant. That's why I created programs like Well-Being Your Way, that's now being offered in Chewy. And when I was at ESPN, the Trust Mental Health Group that we created was just an amazing initiative that gave people options, because we found out that engagement grows when people are met where they are and they know that you care. So that's important. And there's folks that love meditation and others who prefer or need movement, or even just the space to talk. So by offering these different paths, which is what Well-Being Your Way does, and Trust, and then that Everybody Moves program, by offering these different paths, well-being becomes approachable and personal, and it's not a prescription, right? It's not a prescription. And that's what inspired me to create even this library of 42 short, professionally produced mindfulness videos. They're designed specifically for high stressed industries where people often don't have the time or the bandwidth for these long 1 hour sessions. So they're tools that can be embedded right into the workday on demand at the desk, before or after a shift, or whatever works for them. Because what I discovered during my time at ESPN and now is that when employees can access support in ways that they feel it's a natural part of their work day or their workplace reality, even, that's when engagement becomes sustainable and well-being becomes a part of the culture. It's not just an initiative.
Well, I love that. See, that's what I'm talking about. How you get it to where it's sustainable, is habitual. You've done your homework and understanding the time is a premium, right?
Yeah.
Time is a premium, and you're working with, high profile executives. They're high performing individuals, and time, like, I don't have time for all that. Well, guess what? You have time to put gas in your car, right? Right. So you got to put some gas in your car, so to speak, your human vehicle, right? For it to operate. And you've showed a way to get that pit stop, those little 5 minutes, this and that, and there's different ways of getting. I like 42 videos. You got 42 ways to go ahead and re-energize yourself or renew your health. I'm gonna
Right.
go into the name of your business. 42 ways to renew your health. I really like that, because here's the deal. We know that companies are struggling with burnout, especially like in healthcare. It is huge. And then you get attrition. People leave the business, right? And it's just like, wow, how can I get people to stay here and not be burnt out? And they need to understand, like, okay, where do I start, Anita? Because I hear what you're saying. I like what you're saying. Here's my big challenge. I'm struggling with burnout. I'm struggling with attrition. What can I do to get started? Now, if you don't mind, share with us what are 1 to 2 high impact changes they can make immediately.
Okay. Yeah. That's a very thoughtful question. And I would say, Grant, it would start by listening.
Mm-hmm.
Listening to your people and then to the data. Burnout often comes from feeling overwhelmed by work and unsupported, which highlights the need for honest communication. That's another thing. So you listen, and that starts opens the door to honest communication. And then another immediate change is to normalize regular meaningful pauses throughout the day. And this could be as simple as short, guided breaks or team check-ins that create the space for mental reset. Because it's these micro moments of mindfulness that are powerful when done consistently. So yeah, it's listening, and then to retain or we want to retain the managers, but I think, and I've always thought this, why don't we retrain managers to lead with empathy and awareness, maybe in the onboarding process as they're moved to leadership positions, because they are the front line of the culture. And when they're overwhelmed or unaware, it ripples throughout the team. So equipping them with simple tools to stop burnout early with themselves, right? And then with their teams, and to create psychological safety and model well-being in their own work. That's when leaders can literally shift the culture. And I think those are two ways to begin that.
Well, we gotta take that to heart. Not just listen to what you just said, but practice them. And the more we practice them, we can start seeing measurable difference. As they say, if you can't manage what you can't measure. So if you can measure it, then you can manage it. So you've got to start doing some things that create that opportunity to measure. Speaking of that, which is like science, I want to know, because you spoke earlier about faith, your particular faith, you've got to have something to believe in. So how do you blend science, spirit, strategy in your sessions with different leaders, different teams? And here's the question: why does that blend matter now more than ever?
Yeah, I love that science, spirit, and energy or strategy. It has such a beautiful flow. Just that saying, right? Science, spirit, and strategy. And that is at the core of how I work, Grant. And I do believe that is what makes my approach both effective and deeply human, because science gives us the data which we need. And we know with that data that chronic stress impacts the brain, the heart, and even decision making. So I like to use evidence-based tools like mindfulness and movement that have been proven to reduce stress, improve focus, and increase emotional resilience. I mean, even, breath work through mindfulness, taking that breath has such calming effects. So we know that the science can prove that. The spirit piece is what can't always be measured, right? It's purpose, presence, and connection. And especially in leadership, people need the space to feel human. And whether it's quiet reflection, guided meditation, or simply just being still, can help leaders connect with themselves and others on a more meaningful level. And then it trickles down naturally in communication to their teams. So I love bringing that spirit piece into it, because I believe humans are spiritual beings, right? And we just have to bring it out, and we can do it in corporate America too. And the strategy is where it becomes sustainable. It's not about, like we said, these one-off sessions. So I work with companies to embed well-being into their daily routines, their team culture, and leadership communication. So it's not just a program, but it's actually a way of operating. And your question, why does this blend matter more now than ever? Well, honestly, because the workforce is tired, burned out. We know this, and people are craving something real. And because of the pandemic, that was the silver lining. I really think there was a silver lining in this pandemic. We know that craving is real. It's there. And when we do choose to combine the science with the spirit and then the strategy, you don't just address performance. You can then ignite transformation. And that's what needs to happen.
I love that, man. We got to get more life force into our lives, right?
Yeah.
That's the spirit of life. You got to put more life into what we're doing. That's our green leafy vegetables, right? So we got to eat right, and we've got to breathe right. We've got to feel what we're doing. If we have more feeling into what we're doing, this is wonderful. Now, we worked together. We worked together for about 4 or 5 weeks. And I thank you for that, for bringing me into your world. Say, hey, Grant, bring to me what you're doing. I'm going to show you what I'm doing. And we're going to bring that together so we can even get this message out further or reach, because it's so in demand. You just said the workforce is tired, it's beat up, it's burnout. They're not seeing, something that's tangible in front of them. You bring that out. Now, you have a tagline that's called Mindful Moments to Measurable Momentum. I like that. Mindful moments to measurable momentum. The question is, how does that connect to your personal mission and the future of leadership in a well-being driven economy?
Yeah. So, yeah, I love that. And mindfulness, when taken seriously, it is a strategy that everyone can practice, because it just means really paying attention on purpose to what's happening right now. So when we can train others and ourselves to be mindful, then we have a whole different way of rolling out some of our strategies and some of the way we look at performance. And one of the things that, and as we know, so that can create momentum.
Yeah.
One of the things that really struck me when I first got into corporate America and into this concept called mindfulness, which I had to take on myself first to practice it. And I just loved what was going on even inside of myself, right? It cultivates, one of the things that that mindfulness does is it cultivates compassion. And that's more than just a phrase. It's a lived truth. Mindfulness, has shaped the way I lead, listen, and serve. So it teaches all of us, when we practice it, to slow down and to truly see ourselves and each other, and to respond, not to react.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so we respond from this place of awareness and compassion rather than being on autopilot.
Right.
So we get rid of the autopilot. And can momentum happen without being on autopilot, right? Yeah. Yes, it can. It can happen from the pause, but it's also something, that's why it has to be embraced in the workforce by leaders and then trickle down, so everybody feels it, everybody's aware. And when you have that, it's a different environment, and that's what will compel and propel the momentum. Because in a world where there's burnout, disconnection, and rapid change are the norm, mindfulness, compassion, empathy isn't just a nicety, it's a necessity. It becomes a necessity, and that's how teams will communicate. And so as we move into a well-being driven economy, leaders will no longer be measured by output alone, but by the cultures that they create, right? Wow. Because leadership that's rooted in mindfulness, Grant, and this I know, fosters psychological safety, clarity, and care. And that's where real innovation and engagement happens, because that's when momentum starts to really, really flourish and take off, when there's engagement. So this connection between mindfulness, compassion, momentum, it is the foundation. And it's how I believe organizations will thrive, human first, with heart-centered leadership at its core.
That's the life. That's how you renew your health. This has been wonderful.
That's
And it's
exactly
been
right.
wonderful working with you. I want, if you don't mind, and I've been doing this for a lot of my guests, I want them in real time to talk about your experience in working with me through my Brave framework. What has that done for you in your life and business?
Gosh, Grant. So you were my calling. That's what I believe, honestly. And I just needed you. What you did was you really got me to hone in on what it is that I could communicate best in this corporate world. And I had to know who I was as a strategist, as a consultant, because I am a meditation teacher, I am a coach, I am a yoga, and you could put all these things up, but you helped me really hone in on this one thing that I needed to communicate, and then everything else could fall underneath it. But your strategy, and you were just so helpful. You were just what I needed. I'm very motivated, so I didn't need a motivation coach. I needed you to just really help me establish what I needed to do with homework, and I did it. And I just feel so clear in my communication now. And yeah, you were just a blessing to me. So I thank you. And I would recommend you, and I have recommended you already to so many of my friends, because I think they notice, like, what's going on, Yeah.
I couldn't ask for a better testimonial. And likewise, as I said earlier when we first started the show, I learned so much. You gave me so much. And we take that energy and that momentum and we build and we come to this point in the road that we can actually elevate. And I love what you're doing, and I will definitely promote you everywhere that I can, because what you're doing is so needed, and people need to hear this message and understand. I'm telling everybody 42 videos of how to get right and get focused, right? And get aligned with your true purpose and mission, right? So tell us how to contact you.
Yeah, so I'm very easy to contact. I love being contacted and I love answering people's messages. So LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn, and I have my own website, AnitaBarbero.com, Facebook, Instagram. Renew Your Health is my business. So whether, you show up as contacting me as Renew Your Health or Anita Barbero, I'm there in both those ways. And again, I love the engagement and the conversation always.
That is wonderful. That is so wonderful. I want to encourage your entire audience to tune into all the episodes of Follow the Brand. They can do so at 5-star BDM. That's number 5. That is star, B for brand, D for development, infomasters.com. I want to thank you again so much for being on the show.
No, thank you, Grant. I appreciate it and loved the conversation. Thank you. Be
You're
well.
most welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I am the AI avatar for Grant McGaw, founder of 5-Star BDM. Welcome to your Brave Blueprint Insight of the day. Today's focus is boldness. Boldness is not about being loud. It's about having the clarity to lead and the courage to stand firm in your vision. In the world of branding, it means taking the road less traveled and owning it with conviction. Boldness is the decision to stand for something, even when it's uncomfortable. It's the message that may not appeal to everyone, but speaks directly and powerfully to the audience that matters most. If you've been asking, how do I build more visibility? Understand this, visibility follows boldness, not the other way around. You can't whisper and expect to be heard in a world that rewards conviction. You don't need to be louder. You need to be braver. So here's your challenge. What bold move are you avoiding that could define your brand tomorrow? Boldness isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to lead anyway. This is the AI avatar for Grant McGaw, delivering your brave insight. Your thunder is waiting. Let's make...
Grant McGaw, CEO of 5-Star BDM, is turning heads in the healthcare and information technology sectors with his groundbreaking approach to personal branding and business development. By challenging conventional strategies, he's setting a new standard for how executives present themselves and their businesses to the world. McGaw's expertise isn't just about standing out. It's about strategic guidance, generating leads, and building networks that propel executives beyond their competition. His focus on authenticity allows leaders to leverage their unique stories, driving exponential growth and success in their industries. Beyond branding, McGaw is a fervent advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace. He's committed to helping organizations cultivate environments where innovation and collaboration thrive through inclusive cultures. And for those eager to dive deeper, McGaw hosts the Follow the Brand podcast. Here, he unpacks the intricacies of personal branding and business growth, offering valuable insights for professionals eager to redefine their identities and share their narratives with the world. At 5-Star BDM, we don't just elevate brands, we forge industry icons. Our mission is to amplify your business and personal brand through dynamic AI-enhanced strategies and an elite professional network of over 20,000 experts. We empower entrepreneurs and small to medium-sized businesses to lead, scale, and transform. Our powerful network accelerates your speed to market and connects you with unparalleled growth opportunities. If you're ready to lead, we'll position your brand to set the industry standard. Explore our comprehensive services designed to build your brand, drive growth, and innovate your business. From personal branding and business development to technology solutions and investment banking, we offer tailored strategies that deliver measurable results and help you dominate your market. Our personal branding service uniquely tailors your professional story. Starting at just $99 per project, we offer online courses, in-person workshops, and scheduled weekly calls. Perfect for individuals beginning their personal branding journey, we help you craft a legacy that commands attention and respect. Strategic plans and execution are at the heart of our business development services. We focus on sustainable growth, helping you secure funding, scale operations, and expand your market reach. Our expertise ensures your business thrives in competitive environments. Innovate with custom artificial intelligence, machine learning, and software solutions tailored to your needs. Our technology services are designed to enhance your business operations and drive efficiency, ensuring you stay ahead in the digital age.
Discover real stories and real results. From healthcare startups to tech entrepreneurs, our clients have achieved extraordinary success.
For instance, a healthcare brand transformation led to a 40% drop in patient infections, showcasing our impact in diverse industries.
Tune in for our next show or click on our website at www.5starbdm/followthebrandtv. Thank you.
Resonate.